Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with the Romantic Piano Concerto on Hyperion, the big box. I keep putting the big box someplace else for each of these. There it is, the big box. First 50 discs. Oh, my goodness. And here we have volumes 27 and 28, which won a Gramophone Gold Disc Award in 2008, which means that it's got to be mediocre if it doesn't suck outright. I mean, because Gramophone Awards are just a farce, as we know. And the only awards that matter are the ones that I give. So, screw that. Actually, mediocre is sort of the word of the day. It's not an outright farce, but it's a predictable thing. We have Stephen Hough, who was sort of a younger guy in 2008 and hadn't quite reached the level of universal respect that he enjoys today, but he's still a wonderful pianist. And he's doing all the Saint-Saëns piano concerti and works for piano and orchestra. That includes, The Wedding Cake, Rhapsody d'Auvergne, the Allegro Appassionato, and Africa, which is quite wonderful, Fantasy, and all 5 piano concertos. With the City of Birmingham Symphony Orchestra under Sakari Oramo. He's a very good conductor. I mean, he did that amazing Nielsen cycle. I mean, the guy's really, really good. But this, for all of the orgasms that the gramophone people had and the nonsense that was said at the time, is just average. It's not terrible. It's not great. There were several other Saint-Saëns piano concerto cycles before this thing popped up, so it wasn't as unusual. You had Collard with Previn, which was sort of the reference one, Ciccolini, Philippe Andremont, which is much better than people think it was, Pascal Roger with Dutoit, which was also very good, and that's complete cycles. And since then, there have been like 3 or 4 or 5. There's Anna Malikova did one, which was wonderful, with Thomas Sanderling, by the way. And the Louis Lorty, who is the new reference recording on Chandos, which is simply phenomenal, with, I think, Edward Gardner is the conductor there. And then there was the Biz cycle with Kantorov. Just a whole pile of them. And I'm very happy because they are beautiful, beautiful works. Wonderful works, gorgeous works. They deserve all of the attention that we could give them. And there were also marvelous performances of individual concerti, but mostly just 2, 4, and 5. Before all these complete sets, nobody did 1. Nobody cared about 3, which is really beautiful. And 1 is fun too. I mean, it's a good piece. 4, you had Casadei, who was also was always terrific. 5, you had Magda Taliaferro, if you could get your hands on it. 2, we of course had Arthur Rubinstein and others. And then there was what was her name? Dare, who did them all in mono, a fabulous Saint-Saëns piano concerto cycle. Lots of good Saint-Saëns out there, single performances and cycles. So when this came out, it would have had to be pretty terrific to obliterate memories of the best of the competition. And it didn't do that. And the reason it didn't do that was partly Hough, not largely. Hough is a really wonderful pianist. He plays the music very sensitively, but a little bit blandly. It's lacking a little bit of the crispness, the point, the elegance, the verve. It's just good, solid pianism without much imagination. You hear that particularly in the Egyptian concerto, which can really, really take a little bit of fun especially the second movement and that sort of operetta wrap-up finale with its great tunes. And the real problem, and it was the same problem, by the way, that we encountered hello, Mildred. Mildred's down here. That we encountered in the Busoni piano concerto with Hamelin, with these forces. It wasn't Oramo conducting, it was Mark Elder, but it was the City of Birmingham Symphony Orchestra. They just don't sound comfortable. The sonics aren't quite right. The balances aren't quite right. The relationship between the piano and the woodwinds, and it just doesn't come off. It's such a hard thing to describe, because all of the other performances that I have mentioned don't have this issue. But for some reason, The piano is too forward. The orchestra is they're uninteresting and not tangible enough, not a genuine counterpart to what the piano's doing. So even where Hough is really at the top of his game, the orchestra doesn't match him. I don't even think it's Oramo's fault. I just think that the engineering for these recordings that they made in Birmingham was just off. And maybe the orchestra wasn't at its best. Maybe they recorded all of these too quickly, in a clump, and they weren't comfortable. For whatever reason, these works, as the Busoni Concerto 2 with Marc-Andre Hamelin, they just need more time and effort and thought and balance and fire and sparkle than these folks gave them. This was one of the big disappointments for me in this entire cycle because I really expected it to be terrific. And in 2008, when it came out, there was still room for a new Saint-Saëns cycle that could have been really special. And this just is not. So like everything else in this series that's not top-notch, it's nice. It's good to have. It makes sense in the context of the collection. The performances are not terrible. They're respectable. But, there's so much better out there. And you can't ignore that. I mean, you can't ignore that at all. You'll get these if you get the box, but you can do much better in the Saint-Saëns piano concertos. And facts are facts. Just have to say so. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.